Hey, we've been about to come live for the truth with DKP. That's right, we want to talk about the truth. Hey, come on, get ready, log in, log up, share, let folk know we're going to talk about the truth right here in Jackson, Mississippi, right here in Hinds County, right here in the state of Mississippi. Hey, let's talk about the truth, all right? What is the real truth? What's really going on? What's really happening? What are we seeing? Why are we in the shape we're in? Why are we dealing with fatherlessness? Why are we dealing with the issues in Jackson, Mississippi? Why are we dealing with issues with incarceration across this state? Hey, I'm coming, I'm putting it all out there. I want you to join me for my inaugural, my beginning, the very first, The Truth with DKP. That's right, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna put it on the table, right? Listen, kingdom is about everything. So I want you to get ready, because those that say, well, the pastor ought to stick with preaching. Listen, let me tell you something. The kingdom was about everything. Jesus dealt with everything, right? He dealt with paying taxes. He dealt with all those things. So come on in, tag some people. Hey, my homegirl from Itabena, Mississippi, Tanya Griggs. Hey, how you doing today? I hope everything is good with you. Hey, Sharon White, hey, tag as many people as you can. Let's deal with the truth right here in the state of Mississippi. This is my very first, this is my start in what I believe has been a neglected area in our city, in our state. Hey, let's talk about it. What you say, Angelia Easton? God bless you. Hey, come on, tag some people. Let's go get it. Hey, my wife just sent me this jam by DJ Khaled. Hey, y'all don't know nothing about my wife. Y'all don't know nothing about Dr. Pickett. She down with it, baby. Yeah, I like that one right there. Thank you, Tracy, for sending me something to play for my inaugural, my kickoff. Hey, Jennifer Spain, Stella Kyle, let's go. Let's go. Today is the day. We're going to talk about the truth. We got to deal with the truth. The truth going to set us free, the truth. And a lot of people say, man, we ought to be trying to come together. Ricardo Lee, what's going on? I agree with you. We got to come together, but there's no way to come together without dealing with real issues, right? We got to deal with the real things, the real issues. That's the only way for us to make things better, okay? Hey, listen, we want to deal with some issues today. I want to talk to you about some things today. I'm going to share with you this morning. I know there's some people right now going through some issues dealing with the flood, and there's flooding going on. There's massive rain. Things are happening, and hey, we're going to circle back around to that, and we're going to deal with it. But I want to begin today, and I want to deal with this report that came out from our state auditor regarding fatherlessness and the issues that we're dealing with this fatherlessness that we're dealing with all over the country, really. But in particularly, we've been dealing with some things right here in the state of Mississippi, which he brought out some things, and a response by Representative Summers that really laid out some things that I think are really important for us to understand. I don't want to spend a great deal of this time on this fatherlessness issue today, but I'm going to deal with the fatherlessness issue in detail on tomorrow. But let me just say this. Let me give you some details. Let me give you some statistics. Let's understand something, that the state of Mississippi leads the world in mass incarceration. We lead the world per capita in mass incarceration. So, in particularly, there are a great deal of fathers that are locked up. And if you really want to put something on top of that, African-American fathers really make up the massive number of people that are incarcerated in the state of Mississippi. Just statistically, let me make you understand something. In Mississippi, blacks constitute only 39% of the state residents as a whole. However, but 57% of the people in jail and 62% of the people in prison are black men and women. Black men and women are locked up in Mississippi prisons at an alarming rate, and many of them are not for violent crimes. They're locked up for unfair drug laws, unfair, not having adequate representation because of years of systematic racism, years of systematic unfair treatment. And I'm telling you, we got to address that. And those are some issues we really got to address. And I think Representative Summers hit on some issues, but tomorrow I want to share that more in detail. I agree. I know that we have a fatherless situation and it's a fatherless generation, but I believe there's some things we can do to help change that. And we got to re-educate. We got to retrain. We got to make sure our criminal justice system is fair. We got to make sure that when young men that make mistakes like I did and like many of us did, that they have fair representation and not just an overworked, listen to this, overworked, underpaid, what do we call it? Public defender who takes deals. I know a guy that was given a deal for 48 years because of a robbery that no gun was used, nobody was injured, $200 was taken, the deal was $48, and because he had no representation, he took it. Listen to me. Those are the kind of things that are happening. You got to understand. You got to understand it's serious. It's serious that historically, young Caucasian boys are given probation for what African American men are given prison time for, and they are placed into the prison system. Historically, Caucasian boys are being allowed to have things expunged off of their records while African American boys carry criminal felony convictions since they were 15 and 16 years old. Hey, let me explain something to you. Before we attack the system, or before we attack marginalized families, we need to look at the reason they're in the shape that they're in, okay? It's serious. And we got to understand this is a serious issue. We're going to deal with this issue. And while I appreciate some of the work that Chad White has done and many others have done, I want you to know by and large, I'm a supporter of the military, of the law enforcement when they're doing the things they're supposed to do right. But I'm trying to figure out, we are dealing with one of the biggest ever frauds against poor men and women and children in the state of Mississippi. But it appears to me that only a few people are being charged and other people are being allowed to pay the money back. Hey, that's a whole nother issue. Deal with that at another time. But the fatherless issue is serious, and we got to do something about it. We got to work it. We got to work our plan. And let me tell you something. I am not letting African-American leaders off the hook in this regard. I'm not letting African-American pastors. I'm a pastor myself, and I take it very seriously to make sure I work and minister to men. I'm not letting African-American politicians off the hook in regard to this, and we've got to make sure we put together the right systems and programs to help turn this situation around. Regardless of race, we got to attack this, and we got to attack it at the root. All right? Attack it at the root. We cannot not allow this to continue. All right. So we'll deal back with fatherlessness on tomorrow, and we're going to deal with that, and I'm going to have some special guests on so that we can deal with that in detail. Let me go to the second issue that I think we need to hear the truth about. Well, the second issue we need to hear the truth about is this Greyhound bus situation. Everybody's talking about the fact, and they're attacking, listen to this, they're attacking a young African-American, Jackson, Mississippi educated, HBCU educated attorney from an HBCU law school. They are attacking him because of the Greyhound bus situation. Let me explain something to you. First of all, how many of you have ridden the bus lately? How many of you have gotten on the bus yourself? How many of you have picked up your mother, father, grandparents, or somebody from the bus station in Jackson, Mississippi, for that matter, anywhere. How many people you know are riding the bus? That's one issue. The second issue is, in Jackson, Mississippi, the Greyhound bus station is a haven for homelessness. It is a haven for homelessness. That is what is taking place down at the Greyhound bus station. And Greyhound, which it is doing all over the country, is changing, actually having people that work. They're having people that they have kiosks where people are able to purchase bus tickets in order to catch the bus, and they catch the bus at designated places. So for that group of people who are attacking, listen to this, an HBCU educated, Jackson, Mississippi educated, young African-American male who has come into this city and wants to do and be a positive good for this city, please, you need to get your facts. And here's another fact you need to understand. Greyhound owes the city of Jackson over $500,000 and back rent and back whatever, right? So Flowood, when they tried to go out to Flowood did an emergency stoppage because they didn't want Greyhound to come to Flowood, right? So now Greyhound is back, wanting to come back to Jackson. And we're talking about, nobody tells that story. They don't tell the story that they want to come back to Jackson. So I don't know whether we need them here anyway. I think we can do something better with that space. I think we can do something better because it's just become a haven for homeless people to hang out. And nobody's telling you that the people that are riding the bus from across the state, from Memphis, Tennessee, from across different municipalities in the state, guess where they send their homeless people to? They give them one-way tickets to Jackson, Mississippi. We have it verified that they have allowed some vagrants out of jail with the condition that they will come to Jackson, Mississippi, and they'll give them one-way tickets. But we're talking about the administration because Greyhound, who owes the city money, they owe the city money. We need to get a grip. I want to tell y'all the truth. Man, you know what Jesus mastered on? Telling the truth. Jesus told the truth. That's what he did. He was a truth teller. When the disciples got ready to send the people away, Jesus said, you feed them, right? He told the truth. So Greyhound, pay Jackson. Pay the city of Jackson, all right? That's an issue that we're facing, and everybody talking about what we need to do and what's wrong with the city. Won't you pay us and maybe we can do some other stuff, right? That's serious business. That's what's really going on. Let's go to the next issue. I know one of the hottest topics going right now is water and this water crisis. We are in a water crisis, and they have known that we would have a water issue for the past 30 plus years. Money was allocated to redo the water system with previous mayors many years ago, before we had our first African-American mayor. Tell me what happened to that money, and why was that money not used to redo the infrastructure? Is something wrong if you're not going to get the facts about what's really going on, what's really happening? Listen, we got to get the facts. We got to get the truth. Okay? Now, I want you to understand something, that this has been an issue for years, for decades. They knew this issue was coming, and now we take and we set the blame on a young black HBCU grad, a young African-American Callaway grad right here in the state of Mississippi, but yet we're not saying anything to the government. We're not saying anything to the federal government, to the state government. It's almost, I'm not sure whether this is the case or not, because I don't want you to tie me to a party, because I'm neither a Democrat nor Republican. I'm a biblical independent, and I want you to understand that. And I stand on that. I don't care what you like about it. That's who I am, all right? But I want you to understand this. It appears to me that there seems to be a conspiracy going on in order to make sure Mayor Lumumba fails, but more than that, that the city of Jackson fails. that the city fails. That's what the city fails. So now that we can do like Memphis, they want to elect a Caucasian mayor. You know what? I don't know. I want the best mayor for our city. But right now we got a current mayor that has 3 more years. Why can't we get behind him and support him and deal with that later? Clean water is serious business. Jennifer Spain, you know that. You're a great engineer. You know clean water is important. However, here's the key. We can't blame this stuff on one person. This has been a systematic problem for many years, for 30 years. Nobody's talking about that. I can't do it anymore. We're talking about people not working at the wastewater plant. Guess what? Because Greyhound owes us $500,000. We can't pay everybody. We need to up salaries. Salaries need to be increased in the city. You want to get people. You want people to come to work and have quality people. You can't find quality people when we don't have the money to pay quality people. So we're getting just what we are able to pay for, which is substandard workers and unable. They're doing the best they can with what they have. So you're right. It goes back all the way back to Dale Danks. That's what they found out. They've uncovered. Now, I want to go on and put y'all on notice because you know what's going to happen. When you start speaking the truth, they want to go digging up stuff and talking about stuff. But I'm making this decision. I'm making a decision deliberately because I'm not hearing anybody at least confront truth and confront the lies. And nobody's telling the truth about what's going on around here. And now we just taking what who the media will interview. Have you noticed the media is supposed to be impartial, but have you noticed that our media deliberately avoids putting the sound bites together correctly that are spoken from the administration or anybody that's not in that line, but they run and make a beeline to our city council people who are obviously, they're not playing both sides of the fence. They've shown what side of the fence they are. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But here's some other stuff. Things are not being properly reported. I was out in one of our outlying cities, and a police officer came up to me and said, Pastor Pickett, they don't report the carjackings and the crimes and the violent acts that are happening in these surrounding areas. And he shared with me that there was just a carjacking in Flowood. There are carjackings in Madison and Clinton and all types of things are happening. But it seems the news can only talk about things that happen in the city of Jackson. Listen, we might not have it all together. And I'm sure there's some things that we got to fix and some things that are not quite right. But let me explain something to you. That the only way we turn this around is we got to get on equal footing and we got to be fair. All right? We got to be fair. There are no question we've got issues in the city of Jackson. We got issues in the state of Mississippi. But I'm telling you, they want to take over this capital city. You don't know this, but companies have been buying up hundreds of houses, correct? Hundreds of houses in certain neighborhoods deliberately, because what they want to do, they want to take over and gentrify. And I'm telling you, we've got to make a stand to decide we want to be a part of the prosperity. Okay? You can't get special tax dollars and set aside money that was used to help build Trustmark Park and was used to help build Renaissance Mall and the other places that they built based on the backs of the statistics that come from the poverty that's in Jackson and the people that are in Jackson. So they were able to allocate and get those funds and get funds that they don't have to pay back based on our demographics. But nobody's talking about that. Nobody's saying anything about that. Listen, I made a decision many years ago that Mississippi was my home, is where I believe God wants me to be. But the more and more I research, the more and more I understand what's really happening. Nobody told you that African Americans get less than 0.01% of all state contracts. 0.01%, less than 0.01%. We don't even get to participate in the building of facilities at our HBCUs. A lot of you don't understand that the presidents and the persons at our HBCUs do not get to make decisions. Their decisions come from the state college board. So what we find is that Ole Miss and Mississippi State and USM do not have to get the same clearance before something happens, but that's not the case for Jackson State, Alcorn, Mississippi Valley. When one of the previous presidents wanted to build brand new dormitories, they would not give them the okay at Jackson State in order to control the growth of Jackson State. So they put students in dilapidated hotels. Why? Because in that way, it's not seen as a campus that's viable. They won't set aside the money for us to build our own stadium. I mean, those are issues that we're facing. And they're very serious issues. But I want to tell you the truth. I made a decision to live my life based on what the truth is, what the facts are. These are facts. I'm not making them up. I've been around a long time. And I've been silent because I figured somebody in the political realm, somebody in the activist realm, somebody would make a decision to say something about it, all right? We got to say something about what's going on. We can't just keep complaining and not saying anything about it. I got the facts. Here are the statistics on the number of people that's locked up. The prison population was going down when we were under the leadership, and the parole board was under the leadership of Steve Pickett, who was a veteran law enforcement officer. And they were allowing more young men and women to come out of jail. Now it's going back up. Governor Reeves, we need help with that. We don't want to just talk about it. We need to be about it. There's been no direct correlation to show that more people, because we got more people locked up, crime has not gone down. Crime has continued to escalate. I need help. We need help. We want to address it. We want to address it, and we want to be fair about it. And we want to make sure that we pass around the prosperity, that the economics are not just relegated to just a few people. Last thing I want to deal with today. I want to deal with this garbage contract. Before I say anything about the garbage contract, let's get an understanding. Richard's Disposal has been picking up the trash, doing what they're supposed to do, but we won't pay them. I got to take my glasses off on this. Regardless of who gets the long-term contract at this point, it is evident to me that certain members of the city council have made up their minds that the only people that will get to pick up trash and be paid in this city is waste management. So it appears to me that a group of city councilmen are voting in a block to make sure that the only company that gets to pick up trash is waste management. Listen to me. Give me a reason why a company has picked up the trash faithfully for months without being paid, but yet they continue to pick up the trash. And our city council, the block of city councilmen that obviously believe the only people qualified to pick up trash is waste management. Why won't you pay the band that's been picking up the trash? His company's been picking up the trash. And it's almost as if they want to bankrupt the man. He's picking up the trash. And let me tell you something, fuel in trucks is high. Payroll is high. But nobody's saying anything. That you won't pay the man. Explain to me, city council, those that are voting against paying him, I want you to explain to your people, your representative whose trash being picked up, your trash being picked up, why you won't pay the man the money he's due. Now, I don't even want to get into the contract issue. The fact that Waste Management was $10 million or more over what anybody else was, and yet you refused to give the contract to FCC. You refused to honor the emergency that the mayor declared, turned around, didn't honor his emergency, but yet declared your own emergency and again got Waste Management to pick up the trash during the emergency, and they never missed a paycheck. Talk to me about that, somebody. Are we going to be honest, or we going to be real, or we just going to keep humming? I'm not going to keep humming. Somebody got to say something. Somebody has to do something. You understand? Come back around, they rebid it, a blind bid. They win. Richard's Disposal is the cheapest and the lowest and the best, but you vote against them because the only people you believe qualified to pick up trash is Waste Management. Something wrong with that picture? Well, listen, forgive me for being silent all this time. I'm done being silent. I'm so tired of dealing with, and you would think that our African-American elected officials would be jumping up and down about this, but they're not. You would think that our African-American city council persons would be jumping up and down about this, but some reason, Kenny Stokes, Aaron Banks, the other guy, Vernon Hartley, refused to pay a black-owned company to pick up the trash. I don't understand it. Thank God for the two that will vote to, and then about it. I really don't. But I just think people ought to be treated fairly. And Mr. Foote is a West Point graduate. My son attends West Point. He was one of the influencers in me believing that my son could go to West Point, and I know they teach integrity and honor there. I can't understand how a West Point graduate, regardless of who gets the contract, will continue to vote against a man being paid that's doing the work. Let me tell you what's going to happen in the long run. What's going to happen in the long run, y'all, is this. This is what's going to happen. What's going to happen is the city is going to end up paying twice as much for the work that's being done. It's against the law to not pay somebody who has done the work for you. It's against the law not to pay him. And I'm going to be jumping up and down in court. You need to pay that man and pay him right now. Get that man paid in a hurry. I'm calling for any person. Listen to me. I need some people like Stella Kyles Coleman to run for city council. I need people to run against these heartless city council persons. Now I'm ready. I made up my mind. I'm ready for the attack. I know it's coming, and I'm ready. My skin is thick, and no matter what, I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm going to love them, but I'm going to keep telling the truth. Somebody got to tell the truth, y'all. And thank you. I want you to know. Here are some solutions. Some solutions are those of us that are voters, we got to stand up. Those of us that are taxpayers, we got to stand up. We can no longer allow our city to be controlled and governed by a city council that is against a sitting mayor, regardless of what his position is. I've been saying this for years before Anton Lumumba was mayor. Is something wrong when a city council has made a decision to fight against whatever the mayor brings to the table? He could be bringing something good, and they'll fight against it. Whatever it is, there's something wrong with that picture. And we're beginning right now. We've got some people behind us to raise up strong leaders, strong leadership. We're going to raise up the type of elected official that is going to be a servant for the people. And we're going to do right by every people group. That's what we're going to do. Rich or poor, that's what we stand for, and that's who we are. And I want to close with this. Listen, there are some solutions. We got to do some things differently. We got to heal America, but we got to heal Mississippi. And we got to heal Jackson. And the only way we're going to heal America and heal Mississippi and heal Jackson is we got to come together. And that means black, white, Asian, Indian, every people group coming together. That's what I'm saying to you. And we're getting ready to do a major effort with our every population, every religion, that we're going to work together and we're going to bring our city together. And nobody's going to get to do a hostile takeover of Jackson, Mississippi. We refuse to allow that to happen. Hey, thank you so much for joining me for my inaugural, very first episode of The Truth with DKP. Hey, let's go out with a little more DJ Khaled. We can do this together. Ain't nothing we can't do together, y'all. I'm telling you, there's hope. We can do it. We can do it. Hey, I need to let you know right now, we need to see some lights. Come on, let's go. If you believe we're going to go get it, we can do this together. There's no question in my mind. We can do this together. So let me get some likes. Let me get some amens. Share this with as many people as you can, because we're going to bring about some change around here. Change is on the